Welcome to Carver Hub. My name is Alice, and this April broadcast we have 3 exciting segments. The first one is a close look into 916 Inc., the second one is about the light and industrial complex, and the third is super duper exciting, returning to campus safety guidelines and plans. First we have the 916 interview here, and today with me I have Eli Ellister, a word slinger from 916 Inc. He's going to be talking about the benefits of 916 Inc. and what they have been doing throughout COVID. The program is wrapping up this year for the school year, but you can do a summer camp, and I'll leave the link for their website below where you can find out more information.
So the goal of 916 Inc. broadly is to encourage students in grades like 3 through 12 and everyone generally to write, because we think creative writing is really a great way to understand yourself a little better, to channel anything you're feeling or doing in your life. It's just a really great personal tool. Great both for the students and the teachers, we call word slingers in the meetings. Everyone is writing constantly, everyone is sharing, and everyone's giving positive feedback. So it's a wonderful space to share whether someone's an experienced writer or totally new to it. We run creative writing workshops with different schools and different educational programs. So we have one with George Washington Carver, obviously, but also with different middle schools and elementary schools, and a few juvenile detention facilities as well. And the program's constantly expanding. Workshops are kind of set up like this, and this is pretty much the same for any level. We'll introduce a spark, and it's usually like a poem or piece of short fiction, video, piece of art, and we'll read that or look at that and talk about it a little to, inspire the writers. See an example of people who have gone before them, and then we'll supply a prompt that is usually tied to that spark. So, for example, this is for one of the elementary school classes. We read through a book by Neil Gaiman called The Dangerous Alphabet, where each letter is, like A is for R, pirates or something. Something wacky and dangerous. And then we asked the students to write their own themed alphabet. So one student did like the Harry Potter alphabet, for example. Kind of a big point we try to emphasize, though, is that so long as, anyone who writes is a writer, that's sort of a slogan. But also that the prompt is a suggestion, not a command. The prompt is just an idea for something to write about, but often students will come up with a story the first week and just roll with it for the rest of the semester. And each session, they're adding more and more onto their story.
That's really cool. And I know there is something about publishing, like at the end. So ultimately that's the goal. Once we get into sort of the last 4 weeks or so, the students or the writers will start to submit some of the work that they've written over the course of the semester to us, and we'll put it into manuscript. And in the last few weeks, they'll do some brief light editing with our volunteer editors. And ultimately, the pieces they submit to us are published right now in an electronic book, because we're not in person, but normally in a print copy that everyone has access to. And we actually, I think this semester, are publishing our 200th published book from a workshop, which is a cool milestone. That's a huge accomplishment. Is there like a good place for people to go for information? Probably
the website. Staff is also listed on there, and we're always open to receiving questions directly, especially for people from George Washington Carver High School. If they have questions, they can either ask them through a friend maybe who's in the program, or they can contact myself or Brenda Nguyen directly. She's the other word slinger in the program. Pretty sure that we will have another program next semester, so when the next school year starts.
Okay.
We also run summer camps during the summer. I mean, if people are interested in attending the summer camps, it's probably a good way to get a taste of what the program is like. It's set up in a similar way, except instead of being over the course of 12 weeks, it's over the course of 4 days.
Different about being virtual? Like, I'm assuming you're on a Zoom meeting, right?
There's a lot. Let me think. I think one positive, honestly, is the Zoom chat. Initially, I kind of expected that to be a little annoying. I thought people were going to spam it. Not high schoolers, but younger kids. But I think for people who are maybe a little bit less gregarious but still want to participate, it's been a great option. I've noticed that in the program this semester that people who are less interested in talking on the mic tend to feel comfortable writing something in the chat. And so ultimately, pretty much everyone in the class is able to engage in, either via mic or via the chat. It's also helpful for when we're sharing. The way that's set up is after we write for 15 to 20 minutes, people will volunteer to read their stories, but not everyone's comfortable doing that. So if they want, they can put their stories in the chat, and then I or another word slinger
read it out for them. But another really great option, if they're particularly shy, is they can send it to us anonymously, and we can read it out anonymously, get feedback anonymously. So in that sense, it's been beneficial, I think. Some of the technical capabilities on Zoom, although not maybe good enough to replace in-person stuff, are pretty helpful. Breakout rooms are really good for like, doing editing workshops. Screen share is great because we can share more videos and digital content. And I think it's also pushed Net16 to make more digital content generally. We also have a YouTube channel where we put up prompts and different updates about the program, and that's really kicked into a higher gear while we've been virtual because it kind of had to.
Thank you so much to Eli for joining me and talking about 916 Inc. It sounds like an incredible program, and I hope to see many people joining next year and maybe taking part in the summer camps. And as an extra bonus, we exchanged some Zoom stories, so keep watching.
I think we were doing a discussion section or something, and I was answering some question, and then in the background, like in my camera frame, I just see 2 feet like slamming against the wall. My mom was doing yoga behind me. The professor pretty much stopped the whole class, like, why are there feet behind you? And my mom was doing handstands.
I ride horses, so most of the time I do my Zoom classes at the barn. So sometimes look at the horses in the background, and the teachers are all like, "Wait, Alex, do you have horses?" And then they make me stop, and I show them the horses, and then we continue on with class. Second, we have the Light and Industrial Complex,
My
which
name's
is
Liam Gannon. I'm part of the Carver Hub team at George Washington Carver High. And we're here today to ask some questions about the light industrial project going in right next to the school. See what's going on, what are the benefits, what are the effects of it going in. And I have a few questions for you, Liza.
Sure.
So where will the project be?
So the project's going to be between where the gun club is right now and that sound wall where Carver is. And some of the property actually extends like east of the school. It's kind of a weird shape. So it's got like a small lot on Rudier that you can enter from, and then it extends like in the back area.
Okay. Yeah, so like behind the school where that huge empty field is?
Correct. Yeah, that's part of the parcel.
Okay. So what is the project?
Well, it's a 16-building light industrial facility. And when I heard that, it sounded pretty scary. I'm not going to lie.
Right.
It is right across from my neighborhood park where my kids play, and they're going to cut a driveway into where we just put in a protected bike lane. My kids bike around here. I have 3 kids, 2 teenagers and an 11-year-old girl. And so we live here, we play here, we use the spaces. My kid went to Carver to using the basketball facilities.
Right.
So this is community, this is neighborhood. And so I was concerned. I did have the opportunity to call the developer and have a conversation.
Okay.
And so he kind of filled me in on what it was. And it looks to be more like, like a floor of someone who does flooring. It'll have a little space where there's like a showroom of what the product is. And then he said, basically it'll be like these little businesses stockpiling or storing their wares, and then you can go in and shop for new flooring or like tile and things like that.
Yeah, so kind of like a distribution center for like home improvement.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you think the project will impact traffic?
That was a concern of mine. And so I did, using the California Public Records Act, request some of the studies and the traffic report, the noise study, and an environmental impact study. And it's saying that the estimated average truck traffic, if that makes sense to you, would be something like 85 trucks daily. And that's the average. And not including pickup trucks or anything like that. It's a little bit, I'm trying to figure out what's the impact on air quality there, especially when you have a school full of kids, and it's not just you guys, there's an apartment complex adjacent to this.
Oh, right.
175 units, and each unit can contain several people. We've got kids there that go to my elementary school. So I am worried about asthma and other potential effects,
Yeah, gotcha.
in the park or living near the site. So yeah, noise could be a concern, but more so I'm worried about the health impact.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally valid. That makes perfect sense. Do you know if there will be limits on any like traffic, like when times where traffic will go by? Like, will it be during when school is in session, or will it be at night? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so I did ask, and he said the majority of activity would occur between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So reasonable hours.
Yeah.
But that is school time, and teachers
Yeah.
are still on campus. I mean, I don't know what to say. It is going to be businesses, and it's just normal business hours. Sorry about that. But
It's okay.
one of the ideas that they have is, well, there has to be multiple entrances because the fire regulation.
Right.
And so there's going to be 2 access points, and one of the driveways will be on Routier, and the other one will be Systems Parkway, like down the hill from where you guys.
So it'll be on both sides of the school. So since the school's on the corner, it's going to be behind it and on the side of it.
Correct. It's going to be a driveway from either end, and then the paving for where the driveways will connect inside of the property so that a driver can choose either exit.
Okay.
All that stuff, the goal is to have that, I was told, sort of that kind of basic infrastructure laid out over the summer of this year.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm a junior right now. So going into my senior year, I will probably see everything happening and I'll get to experience it if it goes through.
Actually pretty likely, because the kind of zoning that it is, it's just 100% expected or allowed.
Okay.
So it has everything to do with how did this zoning come to be, and at what point, if any, at any point, what point did it get changed to this?
Right.
And what was the original plan for this area in that plot of land? And so because it is like within all the legal parameters, it kind of feels like we don't have any say over what comes to our community.
Right.
So I'm also a member of the It Takes a Lincoln Village, ITLV, neighborhood group. And what that is well, it's sort of a branch of the community engagement program with the city. So they send like a liaison that kind of facilitates. If we want to do a project and we need like a department from the city, they will hook that up for us.
Gotcha.
They'll tell us like, oh, here's who you can contact. And then, so we get support in that way, but
Yeah.
really a bunch of residents, regular Joes, and we don't get paid, we're volunteers, but we know what we want in our community, and then we sort of like come up with service project ideas or, whatever we want to do and make it happen, just to
Of course.
improve like the feel of our community, to make it feel like a real community.
Right. So with this project going in, is there anything that like other people and other students can get involved?
Right. So, okay, I do know something about the permitting process.
Oh, okay.
One thing I do know is that with projects like this, especially, there's a mandatory component where they have to do some kind of public noticing to inform the residents of what's happening. And I did raise my hand early on, like a year ago or so, when I found out that by accident that this project was coming. I said, I hope, I really do need a community session for something like this. It's almost like I don't think it's deliberate. I just think that we're overlooked.
Gotcha.
Or maybe public opinion isn't valued in that way. We're missing the middleman, which would be a planning commission. And that's usually who we could go to with concerns and to dialogue. And they would, and so we don't have that level of advocacy because it's missing.
Right.
And that's a direction I'd like to see our city go. And I think they're considering it. My concern is why this site right here? Why right here? It's in proximity to, again, other land that they have that does the same type of thing. So it's not new. And we're not in a very exciting location for that type of thing. So why right now? Why this and why right here? Those are just things that just kind of, to me, that I wonder about.
Yeah, I totally understand. How do you think other people can get involved if they have concerns?
So It Takes a Lincoln Village group is going to host the developer. Now, this is a mandatory component where they do have to do some kind of, for their permitting, and take a box off a checklist that, yes, I showcase what we're doing to the community. So we're having a community session. It Takes a Lincoln Village, the group, is going to host the developer, and he's going to present this project idea. And so what we're going to do is share out that Zoom link, and anyone that wants to sit in and hear the developer present what his project is and perhaps ask a question, they're welcome to come in and sit on that meeting.
I asked my parents about the project and what they think about it, and I heard that it might be good for creating jobs within the Rancho Cordova community and create revenue.
Carver Hub would like to thank Liam and Ms. McGall for this interview. And if you are interested in this project, you can contact Ms. Jenks at jenksd@seusd.edu. And you will be given the Zoom link so you can attend the next It Takes a Lincoln Village meeting and find out more about this project.
And third, we have the school reopening plans, which I'm super excited to see everyone through their masks and at 6 feet apart. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next month. Bye.